Here's more from that protest.
So I'm here personally because I think it's important where there's risk, there must be choice. And now that they're rolling this out to the children, as a mother with a child who's 9 years old, between 5 and 11, I think it's important that we really think about mandating something that right now there's still so much uncertainty still. There's only been 3,000 kids in that age group that have been followed for 2 to 3 months. That's not nearly enough time for long-term adverse, to find the clinical studies. So the mandates in general, as far as pushing this vaccine and mandating it, where there is risk, there must be choice, and that's what I'm here for medical freedom. And as someone who has experienced subacute and long-term adverse effects, not from this, but from previous vaccines, it's important that we consider everyone's health and wellness. And the vaccine may work for some, and may be healing for some, it's harmful for others, and that needs to be considered.
Where there's risk, there should be choice. And risk, I had 2 friends die that were vaccinated from the vaccine. And it was in Texas. And her daughter is a nurse practitioner. So they got autopsied. But the thing is she got the first shot and she had a bad reaction, and the second shot killed her. And so that to me is a sign that we need to have choice. We need to have choice. I have taken care of my body for many, many years. I've taken supplements. I've done lots of things to keep my immune system up. I have, and I don't think that it's right to have to put something in my immune system that could
And covering actually that protest was Tomas Manglona. Good morning, Tomas.
Good morning, everyone.
Did you stay dry?
Try to. Yeah, everyone braved the rain to let their voice known. I think folks who saw it too agreed that it was one of the larger, more sizable crowds.
Mm-hmm.
I think at least 50 people were there, and they of course started at the roundabout, then marched over, and got to speak to a few of those who were there. And we also have a video over on our Instagram and Facebook if you want to take a look at more of the photos from that protest on Saturday as well.
Tomas is not the first protest that they've had like this.
This is the second one, right?
I thought it was the 12th.
There's been a bunch of different protests going back to
Yeah.
last year.
Right.
It was
Right.
the second.
But like you said, this was the most attended one
Yeah.
so far. So why do you think that is?
Well, I think because of the forthcoming mandates and I guess awaiting the CDC recommendations for the 5 to 11-year-old shots coming in. And so, it was in response to that. Lots of also children there. I mean, it was, Halloween weekend as well. I believe they also had candy at their booths. So, so they're looking at our Instagram and social media pages, people are waiting for the next protest to happen, and people are saying they're going to join that next one. But also, per usual, people saying, to follow the mandates, and others who say that what everyone was repeating at that protest, which is if there's a risk, there should be a choice.
Well, were you worried at all? Would you wear your mask and all that?
I was not worried. No, I think everyone was demonstrating peacefully. So it was, it was it was at least my first demonstration for this event that I attended as well.
In the rain.
In the pouring rain.
Yeah, and then also tonight we have a new episode of Pacific Matters that is dropping. And that one features the Northern Marianas College. They're recovering from 4 disasters. Typhoons and now this pandemic, and as we reported over the last week, they are closed at least for the next couple of days because of a COVID-19 positive case. But we did this interview before the outbreak on Saipan happened, and we will share a bit of that right now, and you can tune in tonight after primetime as well. The Northern Marianas College has withstood many challenges, and in its recovery, newly appointed President Dr. Galvin De Leon Guerrero is navigating uncharted waters.
The college has been through 4 4 disaster declarations in the past 6 years. So we often talk about Typhoon Sodalor and Mangut, and Yutu, but there have been other typhoons, including Typhoon Mangut. So you have 4 federal disaster declarations. You also have, we've had austerity measures that we've had to endure. We've had a global pandemic. And there's also been, quite a bit of, in the past decade, there have been almost half a dozen presidents of the college. So there's been a lot of leadership instability as well. But despite all of that, the college PROA and everyone here has been extremely resilient in responding to and adapting to all these challenges. And whether it be rebuilding a brand new campus here on Saipan, or providing new programs, or just continuing to increase enrollment and graduation rates, the PROA tribe has done a fantastic job. And I feel incredibly blessed to come in and to have such an amazing team. In preparing for this job, I thought I knew everything I needed to know about the college. But these past 3.5 months working with everyone has led me to realize that I feel incredibly honored to work with everyone. And in a way, I don't feel worthy to lead them because they've done so much on their own. So to me, to come in and to provide that extra wind in their sail to help them continue the momentum that they've built over the past 5 to 6 years it's been a privilege. And these are exciting times for the college. Despite all the challenges, and perhaps because of them, these challenges have positioned us to really succeed moving forward. For instance, if it weren't for the typhoons, we wouldn't have been able to avail of tens of millions of dollars in federal funding to rebuild our facilities. That money never would have been able to come from the local government. So the silver lining, despite the devastation of Super Typhoon Yutu, was that it kind of gave us the justification and gave us the sort of the qualifications to secure all this funding. But another thing is what those typhoons did is it forced us to go online. So when the pandemic hit and we had to transition to online classes, the college was ready. We had the infrastructure we needed, we had the tools we needed to quickly transition online. And while most other colleges took weeks or even months to reopen just online classes, the college was open within a week after the lockdown was implemented here. And in addition to all of that, we've had just a group of employees who just know how to adapt to all these changes. So as we move forward, we have an incredibly resilient and adaptable set of faculty, staff, and administrators who are making all of these promising changes possible.
As Dr. G stresses, he isn't alone. Over 100 faculty, staff, and administrators are also holding steady in their journey and engaging multiple members of their community on and off campus.
When it came time to develop a new strategic master plan, or to develop the facilities master plan, or to come up with COVID-19 mitigation protocols, faculty, staff, and administrators were all engaged in the process. The college does a great job of engaging these stakeholders, whether it be by having focus group discussions or having planning summits, or more recently, including the stakeholder representatives on the leadership team. Now we have the faculty senate president, the staff senate president, and the ASNMC president on the college leadership team. So the key to, I think, the college's success has been engaging all of these key stakeholders in the decision-making and the planning and in moving forward.
As they rebuild their campus on Saipan and improve facilities on Rhoda and Tinian, they've not only secured grant funding, but set out a master plan that outlines the phases of their rebuilding.
But all of this needs to be planned because we're also competing against time for labor and construction material, that both of which are becoming increasingly difficult, increasingly unavailable and increasingly expensive.
And he says they're staying true to their mission to have students start smart and provide the best education possible on the island and in the region.
I've always believed that you can start and finish here, but we're also moving in the direction of offering more four-year degree programs and also increasing the research capacity of our employees. And my goal is to offer the people of the Northern Marianas more options to not only start here, but stay here. So starting smart is a way to save money, but finishing wise is a way to invest in your community by getting your education here. And so that's why I've been promoting that start smart, finish wise. And we as an institution need to position ourselves to help people.
And so you can expect that episode after news tonight. And just switching gears a little bit, but staying with the CNMI, there is a planned 1 p.m. COVID-19 media briefing that the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital there, Esther Muña, will be holding. Of course, I think when we added the numbers, 21 cases in total since the first initial case was reported last week. One of those from quarantine identified as a traveler at the border, but 20 from the community and identified through contact tracing or surveillance testing. We know that there's more testing happening today at the Canoa Resort this afternoon as well. And so at 1 o'clock, we'll expect to get the latest reports, because we haven't yet heard, except for that of the most recent cases, 6 are in the same family. We don't know just yet where exactly this outbreak is being contained or spreading in the CNMI.
Do they provide any demographics? You said that they were from the same family, at least the 6, like their ages, or also whether or not they've been vaccinated or unvaccinated.
We don't get that in the daily or even periodic reports throughout the day. So the purpose of today's 1 p.m. media briefing is to break down the data, is what the PIO told me. So
do you know if they provide the monoclonal antibody treatment?
They do. They have that on standby. We actually ran a story the day before the outbreak happened about how they're standing by and ready, and so they do have that treatment available. And also the alternate care site, which is also at the Canoa Resort facility, the chair, Warren Villagomez of the task force, saying they're keeping it quote unquote warm so that if they ever have to extend services outside of the hospital, they have the alternate care site. And again, we were there, right, last year when they had the ribbon cutting for that. So expect much more on that. And the outbreak in the CNMI, this has been, I believe, the biggest spike yet in the pandemic's course in the CNMI.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see more of a breakdown in the information that they're releasing, because I know you and I have been discussing, okay, so there's X amount of cases that are positive, but how many tests, right, were conducted. So I look forward to watching that live stream again at 1 o'clock.
Right. If you need any pointers on what to ask about the COVID, because, I know NMI hasn't had it for a while. I think you know some people.
Yeah, and I think it will be interesting, because last thing that they stressed on Friday's press briefing is that they're trying to get to the index case. Obviously, with the mandatory quarantine and testing upon arrival on the 5th day and the 10th day, people are wondering how the outbreak was able to happen.
Well,
so,
we learn anything, COVID finds a way.
Unfortunately, it does.
Yeah. Thank you, Tomas.
Thanks, Tomas.
Thanks.
All right, let's head right into the KUAM News Zoom room, where he's the former Physician Advisory Group Chair, Dr. Hoa Wen of AMC, the American Medical Center.